Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 119 of Nostalgia Talk. I'm James, and joining me today is Jennifer. I'm gonna screw this up.
No, you're not.
Sigin?
That's perfect.
Okay,
Yeah.
we're both French Canadian, but we're both
Yeah,
terrible
we're
at the
both
language.
Anglophone. Yeah. True that. Yeah.
So, for anybody who doesn't know, Jen is a voice actress who is perhaps best known for her roles as Caillou's mommy, nicknamed Doris by our previous guest Pat Fry. And thanks again, Pat, for connecting us.
He was Boris.
He told me that it was named Boris, and so he's like, I guess mom's name is Doris and their last name is Morris.
Yeah. But I don't think it's ever mentioned in the show. I think that was just kind of something in the Bible of the show. Who knows?
Mm. And in addition to that was also the voice of Graziella on Whimsy's House,
That's right.
Millicent Crosswire on Arthur, Madeleine Grotto on Mona the Vampire, Winx Club. She was in Winx Club doing the voice of
Stella.
Stella, and was
Yeah.
also on other shows, including one I actually used to watch that I don't think gets a lot of love, The Tofus.
Oh yeah. I think I only did a small part on the tofus. I remember it, but I don't remember what I did.
I was
That's how
looking
long
on
ago it was.
IMDb to figure out what I wanted to talk about, and
Okay.
I don't usually trust IMDb when I'm researching for these shows because it's
Right.
happened where I've brought up projects and they're like, yeah, I've never heard of that. So
Yeah. Well, a lot of the projects we do, I'm sure some other people have told you this, like we do so many cartoons and then they just kind of go off in the world and we never know which country they're playing in or which um, streaming platform or where it's gone. So, especially in the old days when before streaming existed,
and social media.
so no social media. So they would just go off to, packaged with other shows to like Cuba, for instance, and then you would only see them if you're on vacation in Cuba. So that's the story there. Some of them maybe just never got off the ground. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a mystery.
It is a mystery, but I'm glad you like the ones that made it.
Hmm. Yeah, quite a few of the ones that I'm going to bring up are ones that were a big part of my childhood, and I'm sure a big part of the listeners' childhoods as well. But to go back in time a little bit, let's get real nostalgic. How did you become interested in acting in general?
Oh gosh. Well, I started very young. I was 5 and I saw The Wizard of Oz and I really just wanted to be Dorothy really badly because she wore shiny shoes. So when you're 5, that's kind of like the priority, sparkly things. And then that just kind of turned into, an idea of that's what I wanted to do was be an actor. And then the older I got, the more I just, looked into it. I loved movies. I loved TV shows. Um, and then I ended up going to theater school and training. And then when I had graduated, I started my career just right after that, doing voice work primarily and doing a little bit of film and TV.
That was actually going to be my next question, if you were always kind of chasing the dream of doing voice work, because I've had voice artists on this show who were always interested in that, such as Bob Bergen, Corey Burton, Brian Cummings, Daniel Ross. Those guys were, of course, inspired by people like Mel Blanc and
Yeah,
Walt
yeah.
Disney, for instance.
Well, I didn't even know that it existed in Montreal. I always loved cartoons and I always, mimicked the voices and did lots of character voices, made recordings with my sister, things like that at home. And then when I actually started working, I didn't even know that you could get into that. But somebody asked me to audition and I did. And the rest is history. And I love it. And then it became my favorite thing. So I asked, don't put me in for any movies. I want to be available for cartoons.
Did
It
your
was much
did your
more fun.
sister end up becoming an actress as well?
No, but we still do voices together in the car.
That's cute.
Yeah.
So your first gig, that was a voiceover gig?
My first gig, let me think back. No, I think I was on Are You Afraid of the Dark on
Yes.
camera.
One of
Yep.
my another previous guest was DJ McHale, who
Oh,
created that show.
really?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
met him. He came here for HalCon,
Okay.
and I went to a writing course that he was teaching, and then he held a screening of an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark, where
Oh,
I actually did
cool.
ask a question afterwards. And
Yes.
at the writing class, he was clearly impressed by what I had come up with. And so,
Right.
right before I asked my question, he looks at the audience and he's like, "We have a real writer here today, everybody."
That's
And
great.
a
Yeah, you
week
could tell.
later, I sent him an email and I was like, "Hey, we met last week. I don't know if you'd remember because there were probably a million people there, but would you like to come on a podcast?"
Oh my God, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
And
he's
he did.
awesome. He's so
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I did one. I did two actually. One was I was a prison guard tour guide, which was a funny role. And then I was also a stage manager in Jake and the Leprechaun episode. So I got to play two very different characters on that show.
It probably is the one that he actually, I feel like that might be the one he screened for us.
Oh, could be.
Because the one he showed us was in a theater.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
probably it.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so I did that. And then I think my first voice was just before Caillou. I think my first voice was in The Babaloos, which was a show about inanimate objects that came to life after everybody went to bed. So
Ah, so
I
like
was a
Toy Story.
spoon. I was a yeah, it was like but I was a spoon. So we'd all jump around and solve mysteries or whatever we did. And then I got Graziella and then Caillou.
Hmm.
But it was all like very fast in the beginning. Like you got one job, and because a lot of them took place at CNR or other studios, just everybody got to know you, and then you got to audition. And we were like a little core group of voice actors who got to audition for everything, and it just became my main thing, which was fantastic. I loved it so much.
And Whimsy's House, I'm glad you brought that up because that was actually going to be my next question. That show really was a huge part of my childhood. One of my friends just the other week, before I started talking to you about doing this, texted me, "Do you remember some show called Whimsy's House, or did I dream that?" And I was like, "No, I remember that show very well." She's like, "What the hell were those creatures anyway?"
Yeah, that's a
So
good
we just
question. I think I was a bird.
I think so too, because I feel like Russo was a dragon. Whimsy
Yeah.
has what looks like a very small
I
beak
think
with
she was half dragon, and maybe we're all dragons, come to think of it. It's funny that I never questioned it.
Mm. And then
I
you've got
just,
the troll kids.
yeah. Who knows what we were? I don't know. It was just Whimsy's house. I don't know. Just, a
Suddenly I'm
ragtag
wishing
team of,
Suddenly I'm wishing that I look back on Whimsy's house as part of my Halloween retrospectives because of all the trolls
oh,
and all the weird
oh my
creatures.
God. I wonder if anybody would recognize it, maybe subconsciously.
Well, I remember it being on when I was like a little kid, and actually one of my childhood best friends, who most likely will not remember what I am about to tell you if she's listening, but she had a Whimsy doll, and
Oh,
I still do have it in this house actually, a Horace doll,
oh,
and
Horace. Yeah.
whenever we would go to each other's houses, we would bring it with us.
Oh,
I can't really remember if
that's
we ever
so cute.
reenacted Whimsy's house. We probably did if we had the dolls. Of course, now you got your little iPad things to play with.
Yeah, it's true. It's
Mhm.
true. Um, I never had a doll of any of the characters I played.
I
No, that's
can't.
not
I
true.
don't even
No, I
know if
don't
there
think
was
I
a
did.
Graziella doll in
No, I
existence.
don't think so. They always went for the main characters.
Yeah.
But I was Kid Paddle, who was a doll, or a keychain at least. But that's about
Either way,
all.
merchandise,
Yeah,
definitely.
no merchandise for me. But I had a Caillou for a little while. And then I think I gave it to somebody who really wanted it. Um, but yeah, it was Whimsy's house. Yeah, it brings back a lot of very warm and happy memories for me because I was young and I didn't know, if I was going to have a career as an actor, and then suddenly having this show like Instant Security, and just that lovely feeling of going into this dark studio and being creative and getting to do the voices and watch these beautiful colors. And it
Yeah,
felt
it
very,
was a very, very vibrant show. I
yeah.
watched a little bit of it to get ready for this. Not just
Oh,
because I was going to
okay.
be talking to you, but because it was such a big part of my childhood.
Right. Yeah. No, it was it's part of my career childhood, as you will. Because no, it
Welcome
does
to
have this.
Nostalgia Talk, Jen.
Yes, it's nostalgia because it makes me feel like warm and happy when I think of doing that show. I was also learning all about the craft from the directors they were all very good at teaching as well. And and just being side by side with other actors who had been doing this for years. So that was really exciting as well. I remember Sonia Ball was Wimzie. I think it was Bruce Dinsmore was Horace, if I'm
Yep.
not
Bruce and
mistaken.
I are Facebook friends.
Oh, he's
Every time, like
amazing.
I remember hearing his voice on the Little Lulu show, and I was like, "Why does that sound familiar?" So I thought about it, and then I realized that's Horace from Whimsy's house, and
That's
then I
Horace.
realized, wait a minute, not
Yep.
only is it Horace, it's Binky from Arthur.
Yep. Anything from Cena, I'm sure that Bruce was in. I'm sure of it.
Hi, Bruce, if you're listening.
I adore that man. He's a very talented person. He does great on camera theater. He's incredible. Yeah, I get to
Hmm.
work with people like that, like really great, talented people. It's exciting.
Hmm. So with Whimsy's house, I've interviewed people on this podcast who have been a part of Sesame Street and the Muppets,
Oh,
and
the Muppets.
with my connection with a lot of those people, like I share that with my friends. And the thing that gets thrown around is, oh, it's so cool that you get to talk to the people who do the voices. And I keep
Right.
explaining, well, I get it. The voice is what you hear, but
Yeah.
they're actually doing the puppet performances. Whimsy's House was unique in a sense that it was not done that way, as far as I'm
No.
concerned.
No, it was done in French that way.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
And then we dubbed it into English. So we got to see what they did on screen. We actually went to visit them in the studio when they were recording one day. It was really cool. It was a lot like watching how they would do Sesame Street, you know.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we would, it's like sort of like a karaoke machine. You see the script going across the top of the screen. So you're watching the image, the words are going above, and when the words hit this bar, that's when you say it so that it matches the mouth movement. It's been placed perfectly for you. So that's what we did. We did the dubbing.
Hmm.
A lot of the Whimsy's house was original voice, meaning we did the voices first. We didn't see anything, and then they animate it later. But Whimsy's
Oh,
house was done in French, and we dubbed it into English.
wow.
Yeah.
There was another Canadian puppet show that I don't think many people have probably heard of. If anybody knows of it, leave a comment. But I used to watch it. It was called Kingdom Adventure.
Hmm. Oh, does it have a lion as the main character?
No.
Oh, okay.
So
No.
this story, it took place in a land called Lumia, where the main characters, Pokem and Kina, had connected with the deceased prince of Lumia, and they're trying to talk everybody into believing that the prince is real and the emperor is actually coming back. And I've seen on DVDs of Kingdom Adventure, believe it or not, those do exist. That they've actually shown behind the scenes as to how it's done, and it's done almost the same way as how you just described Whimsy's
Oh,
house.
okay. All right. Yeah, so they were recorded in a different language first and
Well, no,
translated, or they would translate
so
it into many
sort
others.
of. So it was done on set with the actual puppeteers.
Yeah,
I don't think it was a French
doing the
show,
voice.
and then voice actors would just loop it in.
Oh, that could be too. Yeah,
Yeah,
separate puppeteer. I think for Whimsy's house, it was actually the actors who were doing the puppeting that did the
right.
voices as well, which would be very difficult as far as I'm concerned, because you'd have
Yeah,
to
that well,
know
that's
your
what I,
script off by heart, or it would be very
that's what I was
hard.
wondering, and it's a little bit like anime as well, where you're doing the dub, and for animating anime, you have to match it to how the domestic actor would
Right,
say it. And with puppeteering, everybody has a certain style of doing
right.
it, so you
Yeah.
really do have to think fast with that one.
Yeah, that would be multitasking to the 10th degree. That would be very, very crazy. I admire them. I'm very simplistic. I like to have my script in front of me and, my coffee and a glass of water. I'm good with that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. When
So,
you when you do on camera, of course, you have to memorize, which is fun as well. But there's just something great about having that one element taken away. You don't have to memorize, so all you have to do is focus on the acting, which is just such a fun thing to do. You get to be as creative as you want.
is puppeteering ever something that you thought about doing before?
I would if it was something that was available to us, but they didn't really do too much of that here. It
Okay.
was mostly animation is the Montreal thing. There were a lot of animation houses. We did tons of dubbing from other countries, tons of original voice. And eventually that, went away with advances in technology and certain other reasons. And then video game voiceovers kind of took over. So
Hmm.
that's a big thing here. Um, Not to say they don't do very much, but I forget what your question was. I'm rambling on.
I think you answered it.
Did I? Oh,
Well,
good. I
the
think if I
question was,
just
were
keep
you ever
talking, I'll
interested in
eventually answer.
puppeteering? So,
Oh, puppeteering. Yeah. I think it would be really fun. I loved the Muppets, Kermit, Miss Piggy. I would have done that show for sure if
well,
I ever had.
they're rebooting the Muppet Show as a special on Disney Plus.
Really?
Hmm.
Love it. Love it. A lot of good memories there. Did you ever see a show called a Christmas special, a Henson Christmas special called Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas?
Yeah, I have the VHS tape for
You
it.
do? I loved it
That's
so
a
much.
favorite of my father's too.
Really?
Mhm.
We're probably like in the same age bracket, maybe, or
Probably.
he's probably younger. Anyway, never mind.
So, of course, one of the roles you're most well known for is as we've established, her name is Doris, Caillou's
Yes,
mom.
Caillou's mommy.
How did you get that role?
I was
Funny,
auditioning
I called Boris Caillou's daddy, but I'm in my 20s. It just feels weird saying
to say
Caillou's
mommy.
mommy.
Yeah, mommy. How did I get it? This is what I remember.
Okay.
I remember being asked to audition for Caillou or maybe one of the other kids. And when you audition, you have to say your name and your agency, and then do your audition. So I
Yeah,
said, "This is Jennifer
I've
Seguin."
done auditions before. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
I represent myself, but I'm like, "Hi, my name is James Nobes
yeah.
and I am auditioning for this."
So that's called a slate. So my
Yeah.
slate was, "Hi, I'm Jennifer Seguin, and I'm auditioning for the role of Caillou." No, 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 no. Whatever.
That was a good
But
impression.
thank you. But from my sorry, Bren, that's not how you sounded. You were amazing. Um, but um,
Sorry, Bren.
but from my slate, I got mom.
Okay.
They said, "Oh, her voice, her natural, normal voice sounds like a mom."
I
So
sort of agree, actually, as I'm
yeah,
kind
so
of
I don't know if
listening.
I
Yeah.
actually auditioned for the mom or they just gave it to me from that. I don't, it's all very hazy. It was a long time ago, and I never knew it would become so big. We auditioned all the time, got little cartoons, they disappeared. We never knew which ones would become famous. And to be honest, I'm more popular now than when we actually did the show. More
I,
people interview now.
well, I don't know if Caillou's famous as fame is a positive thing or a negative thing, because I feel like it's so hard right now to have a conversation about Caillou in the modern era without talking about all the hate that it gets.
I know. It's I can understand it, but I think that
Yeah, like when
hate is also just comes from a place of being frustrated with their own children. Because listen,
yeah,
the show
exactly.
was made for the kids. Now people, this is what they always say. I hate Caillou, but my kid loves it. But I hate it. So the parents hate it because the mom was very, she would listen, she would teach,
He
she
was
would
being a
spend
good parent.
time, which, in a perfect world, every mom would be that. But in reality, there's so much multitasking going on. It's not but it was a way for kids to learn like what their feelings were, and maybe if their kids did become whiny from watching it, it's because they wanted to spend more time with their parents.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because when I announced on Nostalgia Talk's social media that I was going to be interviewing Pat, as all you listeners know, I always ask if anybody has any questions that they would like to submit themselves. And so for Pat, one of my friends, upon reading that he's the voice of Caillou's dad, actually texted me and said, "Ask him why he didn't beat Caillou with a belt." And I was like, "I'm not asking that." But I did bring up the hate, and he told me something really interesting.
Yeah.
And I always tell this to friends of mine who have kids. I'm 26 years old, and to me, it still feels like that little kid is having a little kid. Um, who don't want their kids to watch Caillou because he's whiny, and they're like, I don't want my kid to grow up like that. But
Yes.
Pat told me that they did get a lot of attention for Caillou's whininess.
Yes.
after the first season. But they also realized that the highest audience of Caillou was actually teenagers. And the producers figured that the reason for that is because they were looking for babysitter gigs and were watching Caillou for childcare tips.
Oh, that's interesting.
Hmm.
Wow. Huh. I guess he did some research there. I had no idea.
Neither did I.
Um,
Yeah.
oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what the phenomenon was about, but I know that the creators took a lot of care into, the psychology behind it and making sure that they weren't doing anything traumatizing to children,
Yeah, I
but
mean, I don't really,
productive for children,
yeah, I don't really consider Caillou whiny at all. The way that I kind of think of it, I was talking to one of my friends about this at work the other day, getting ready for this. Um, I, I think as a kid grows up, they kind of have a better understanding as to why their parent or their caregiver would have to say yes to some things or have to say no to some things, regardless of how the kid is going to react.
Yeah.
But they do still need to understand that. It might take a little while.
Yeah.
Um, so
Also, I think kids are just generally, I wouldn't say whiny is the word. They're needy and they're trying to figure out how to get what they want.
thank you. That's the perfect way to put it. Yeah.
They're testing their parents. They're saying, okay, well, if I whine, my mom sometimes gives me juice and puts on the
Yeah, if I
TV for
complain,
me.
I
You know
get
what I
what I
mean?
want.
So I
Yeah.
think people who say my kid whines because Caillou whines, I'm like, I don't think so. I think kids just do that.
Yeah, Bryn told me that she went to Comic-Con, not too far away from me, actually. I'm in Nova
Oh,
Scotia. The con was in Newfoundland.
oh, nice,
And somebody went up to her autograph table and said, I hate your character so much.
nice.
Imagine just paying the money to go and meet the celebrity just to tell
Just
them
to
that.
say that, well,
Come on.
whatever. But hey, you watched it, so thank you.
Well, when it comes to kind of understanding a kid's response to something when it comes to Caillou, there's one that comes to mind actually where Caillou's parents were going out to dinner and they hired a new babysitter who Caillou had never met. And
Ah,
he was very upset about that. So it's like, I don't want a new babysitter. Oh, they're Caillou, this is Julie. I don't like Julie, without even getting to know her. But that's
right.
because he was upset over not having his traditional babysitter, but she
Yeah.
made it fun for him.
Kids don't like change. That's a
Yeah.
very, and when they're babies, they're taught to go by a certain routine, because routines are very good for babies. But then, when they get older, they have to sort of be a little bit more flexible. And it's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard for kids to do that, They're like, that's not the routine. Why is it suddenly changing? Is everything going to go away now? Does this mean you're going out every night? What's going on? Why? Like they spin out a little
It's
bit.
like
It makes
dropping a
sense.
kid off at kindergarten for the first time ever and like, wait, you're not going to be here?
Yeah. But that's a good instinct to have though. It's like stranger danger, I don't know you. It's like a healthy fear. It's just the parent's job is to assure them that this time it's going to be okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's complicated, very complicated, but half the people love the show, half the people hate the show. I think that's sort of how everything that you put out there is treated. You know, you're always going to have people who love it, you're always going to have people who hate it, no matter what it is.
Well, did you see the skit on This Hour Has 22 Minutes? I brought this up with Pat and with Bryn. Um, I've been to the set of that show a couple of times.
Oh, cool.
But they did a skit after PBS announced that they would no longer be airing Caillou at all, like
Right.
reruns or otherwise, where Trent McClellan, who's one of the hosts, plays a PBS executive who's like, well, things have been tough here at PBS, and we've had to make a few cuts, and I'm sorry, but we're canceling your show. You're fired, Caillou. And Mark Critch is Caillou. And I don't remember the actress's name, but she's playing Caillou's mom. So it's like, I don't want to be fired. Caillou is angry at the man. Caillou's mommy was angry too, because now Caillou would never get a job and she'd be stuck with the bald little for the rest of her life.
That's pretty funny.
Stop bringing your mother to production meetings. And tell your mother to stop narrating. I don't want mommy to stop narrating.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
You gotta admit, you gotta have a laugh, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like at
Uh,
work, we joke about Caillou-like behavior all the time. Somebody just did recently. I won't go into that, but I was like, oh my God, come on.
wow, that's so great.
Mm.
I like being part of the collective conscience.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing based on
I'll
what we're
take
talking
it.
about, but
Yeah,
okay.
fame is fame, whatever.
So, with that particular episode of Caillou that I brought up, and with what you were talking about Caillou kind of showing how to be susceptible to changes, if you, I mean, I don't know how much of the show you can remember, but what do you think are some of the most significant episodes from Caillou or moments from Caillou? Like when you look back on some of those, you're like, oh yeah, we taught that, and that meant something.
I think there was one where a little bird died in the backyard and they had to bury it.
Yes, yeah,
And
I
for me,
remember
that's
this.
that just sort of touched because I mean, you and I both have had pets that have unfortunately passed away, and it's a very hard thing,
Yeah,
even as
and
an adult, you know.
yeah,
And
and I've had family members who have died. I've had
yeah,
I hate to even admit this being the age that I am, but even people I went to high school with, they have now.
yeah,
I've been out of high school now for 8 years. Some have
okay,
died,
yeah.
and
It's terrible, terrible, terrible thing to go through. And little kids, if you think of it, they don't have that much experience, and their first experiences usually is they see a dead bird or they see something in nature that has died, even a bug, you know, and they're like, why isn't it moving? And they have to suddenly understand the concept of death without being terrified
hmm
of it. So,
yeah, I said to Norman Stiles, the former head writer from Sesame Street, who by the way also was a writer for Whimsy's House.
oh, really?
Yeah.
See, all these
Um,
people I never met.
Yeah, so I'll tell him hi for you. Hi from a
Please
friend
do.
who worked
Yeah.
on a show that you worked on.
Oh my
That
God. Yeah, it's so funny. You
it's
never
funny
meet some of
actually.
these
The day I'm
people.
going to post this Thursday will be Norman's birthday. So happy birthday, Norman.
Oh, happy
Um,
birthday, Norman. We should
but
have had
he
a
had,
cast party, then we would have met everybody.
well, you know what? Maybe one day I can make it
Maybe a
happen.
little reunion, you know?
I did a reunion of the show Lazy Town. Let's see if we can try to do a Whimsy's House reunion one
That
day.
would be fun.
So, I was talking to Norman about the Mr. Hooper episode of Sesame Street that he wrote, where Big Bird is told Mr. Hooper died, and I have friends, like I've told friends about that episode. I've actually shown it to them
Okay, that's
to
cool.
show them
Yeah,
this is the message they were trying to get across.
yeah,
Um, and on Sesame Street, the way they did it was when someone dies, they don't come back. And Norman actually has told me before that they were really, really careful of how to explain that.
yes.
So
Yeah.
the conclusion they went with is it has to be this way because it has to be this way.
It's the
Um,
circle of life is just
what
sort
I
of
remember
what
for
happens to
Caillou,
everybody.
and
Yeah.
you talk about kids not liking change and the uncertainty of it all. What I remember about that Caillou episode is after he and Dad buried the bird,
Hmm.
Caillou's first question is, "Why did the bird die?" And I remember Caillou's dad was just so taken aback by that, and he's like, what do you, let's say it died because it probably got older, which, as we were talking about with pets, that's the case.
Hmm.
Um, like, I remember mom saying, "Oh, Rosie, you're getting bigger and older," and Caillou
Right.
just kind of freezes.
Yeah,
Or
he's like, oh no.
what's his friend's name there? Sarah?
Um,
No, there's Sarah Clementine. I think that's her
Clementine
name.
is who I was thinking of.
Hey, hang on, I'm gonna Google this.
Oh, okay, good.
Being very unprofessional during an interview, and I'm pulling my phone out.
That's okay. I should know all these things, but really, honestly, it was so long ago.
Sarah. Yep, that's her name.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, so Sarah, it had just been her birthday, and her birthday present was roller skates, and she's showing those to Caillou. She's like, "I'm a whole year older," and Caillou's just,
He starts freaking out.
and then finally that night he just loses it, and I don't really remember what the conclusion was for that, but I remember most of what I remember about that is Caillou's dad just comforting him. I have no memory
Yeah.
of what he said, but that's all
No,
that's
me
coming to
neither.
my
But it was
mind.
something along the lines of like, it's a long, long time away.
Yeah,
You
you got your
know?
whole life ahead of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And for birds, they get older faster because they're tiny. I don't
Yeah.
know. I
Well,
forget
not
what
just birds. Well, not just birds, animals. I mean,
animals.
their their um their lives move faster than ours.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it's Yeah, it's a conversation. And also, if a little kid sees that, then they kind of already know a little bit about it. And they can even say to their parents, no, that's okay, mommy. I know that birds have a shorter lifespan. I saw it on Caillou. You know?
Right. I didn't even think about that, but you're absolutely
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. And then the parents should be like, oh man, I love that show. Now I don't have to explain it. Mm.
So,
Yeah.
along the lines of death, and not to make this podcast any more morbid, but I feel like we do need to talk about Jacqueline Linetsky.
Yes.
Because Pat and I did, and Bryn and I did. Bryn didn't really have an interaction with her,
No,
but
she didn't really know her.
yeah,
No.
but Pat did, and he had such nice things to say about her.
Oh my God. She was just a sparkle. She was just a lovely, happy, talented young woman. And I actually took my driving lessons with her. We went together and got our driving lessons together. I was like almost 30,
I
and
don't judge.
she was, I never needed it before. And then I got a dog, and I needed a car to drive him to Ontario. Anyway, long story. But yeah, she was just fun and lively, and her parents were amazing because they were usually there. One of them was there with her, and they were just amazing, and they adored her so much. And when she passed away, of course,
Well,
it was,
considering how, too. I
yeah,
mean,
no, it was just horrible. Like, luckily, she didn't know, and what was happening, and
mm.
but still, yeah, the whole
And that's kind
community,
of the
the
case
whole,
of my grandmother as well. I mean, I know that Jacqueline passed away in. I don't mean to canonize on any of it, but the way that she passed was so tragic, and the way that anybody passes is very, very tragic. And with what you were saying, at least she didn't know about it. I lost my grandmother to Alzheimer's disease, and I was with my
oh,
dad and his sister not really making the funeral arrangements, but they wanted me to be there for comfort. And I remember my father saying, I am happy that she had no idea what was happening.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like a small little something little that makes you feel slightly better about it. But the whole city was really shocked for her and the young man that was in the car with her.
Yeah, weren't they on a show together?
They were on 15 Love, and they were
15 Love, that's the
shooting,
name
and
of the
it
show,
was
yeah.
the van that took them to set.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, they were
Holy
picked up to
hell.
go to work that day, and there was a little construction issue on the highway, which led to the car swerving off the road. Um, and that was that. So anyway, I don't know if her parents will ever recover from it. Um, and yeah, it was a very, very sad time for everybody. Because when you're that
Yeah.
young and have so much promise, and she was so excited for what was coming, and she started doing theater, and she was growing up, and yeah, it's really, really sad.
Yeah, I lost about a year and a half ago. I lost one of my friends from high school, and I'm at her funeral, and I kid you not, one whole section of the church full, and most of the people in that section I recognized, and
Yeah.
I feel like that made me want to be closer with a lot of my friends, more so than I
Yeah.
have been in a
Yeah.
very, very long time. To anybody listening, we're not around forever. If you're listening to this right now, text somebody that you haven't heard from in a long time, no matter how long you've heard from them, and just say, "Hey, how are you?"
Hey, what's going on?
It
How
can
are
change
you?
your life, it can change their life.
That's
Just
really good advice.
yeah, just keep the people in your life close to you.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Hmm.
Um, and she lived every moment to the fullest. So that's
Hmm.
also another thing that she left behind was a positive energy and a loving family. Like, she was just a very positive human being. So that touched
Yeah,
a lot of
it
people
just
when she
I'm
was
gonna
alive.
cry. It
Yeah.
just doesn't feel fair.
No, it's not fair at all. It's not fair.
Mm.
But that's, unfortunately, life. And
Yeah.
you got to make the best of it and be positive when you can. And she did that, which was a great legacy.
Hmm. So let's get out of the subject of death.
I'm sorry I brought it up with that episode.
No, I was going to talk about Jacqueline regardless. That was going to
Okay.
be my next question afterwards, but let's
Right.
get off that subject and go back to
Yeah.
something happier. Um, Arthur, you got to play Muffy's mom, Millicent
Yeah.
Crosswire.
She was a little bit snobby.
Oh,
She
so
was
was
supposed to
Muffy.
be, yeah. But it was hard because they wanted you to be snobby but nice, like not
Which is
mean
it's so
snobby.
weird because like I was telling Pat about Caillou. The angriest I ever saw Caillou's dad was Caillou was throwing a fit because he got his dates mixed up for when his family was going to the circus. Which, let's have a little reminder here. Dad didn't say we're not going at all. He just said that's tomorrow. And Caillou's throwing a fit. And
Yeah.
Caillou and Dad's like, Caillou, stop that and come help me make breakfast. I'd say for mom, the angriest I ever saw her was when Caillou was like, Rosie's bothering me. And Caillou's mom's like, I can't be solving your problems all the time. Like what you said,
Yeah, we
whining to
had
try
to
to get
be
attention. Yeah.
they specifically directed it to not be scary angry.
Hmm.
Like they would go, "Oh no, 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 that sounds way too angry." And I'm like, "But I'm angry." And they're like, "No, we don't want to scare the kids.
Fair.
You have to be kind of happy angry,
I think
like
that's probably what led to my friend's
reasonable."
question about the
They
beating
said
of the belt.
actually they said don't be angry. They said just be firm.
Fair.
So whether I pulled that off or not, if I sounded angry, oops.
I didn't think of it as angry at all.
Okay.
Um, and then you play the snob, Miss Crosswire.
Yes, Muffy's mother. Yeah, that was fun. I got to do a lot of little characters here and there on that show.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was a fun one. Danny Brochu was Buster, and Michael Yarmish was Arthur, who later became an actor in a show that I was writing and directing, a TV show.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
cool.
So that was fun. It was fun because in those days that was original voice, not dubbed. So
Right.
as was Caillou, but we would all be in a big room with like 7 microphones, and you'd do scenes together with everybody, which
Yeah, that
was
that doesn't happen much in voiceover.
no,
I'm a Disney kid. I saw behind the scenes of Toy Story 1, Tom Hanks and Tim Allen
yeah,
doing the gas station scene
yeah,
together. So they would call in response like, "Sheriff, this is no time to panic. No, this is the perfect time to panic." They would just do
right,
that with each other.
yeah, yeah. So that's the best way to do it. But unfortunately, because of cost and stuff like that, now they just do everybody their own line, so they only have to pay for a certain amount of time. Because in those days we'd be there all day doing all the episodes. It was so much fun. I really love that show.
Yeah, I
Um,
think you're the first Arthur regular that I've had on Nostalgia Talk, because I know that some of my other guests have done occasional voices. Like, I think Bryn did a voice on Arthur. I'm pretty sure Denise Oliver did a voice on Arthur.
yep, Bruce Dinsmore again.
I haven't had him on this show yet, but
Oh, yeah, he's great.
he is, yeah.
So who else was on that show? Just yeah, like the regular gang, I would say. A lot of the usual suspects.
Holly Gautier, Frankel.
Oh, Holly. Yeah, I'm
Hmm.
very close with Holly.
Hmm.
Yeah, because we're also part of the acting community as a whole. Like we're sometimes we see our friends in the studio doing a cartoon. Sometimes we see our friends doing a commercial. Sometimes we see our friends doing a film. Sometimes we just see them in a waiting room somewhere waiting to do something. It's really fun. We're like a big, big, big gang.
I love that. It's like a
Yeah.
family.
Yeah. And we have, like our
So,
union
yeah.
kind of has gatherings for us and parties and stuff like that. So it's a fun, very community oriented lifestyle.
Hmm. So now, let's show us your fangs as we move on to Mona the Vampire. And literally, show
Oh,
us your fangs
yeah.
is the one of the only things I remember about Mona the Vampire, other than the fact that it was on after Caillou when I came home from school when I was like
Oh,
7.
yes. Yeah. There were twins playing Mona the Vampire.
Oh, really?
Yes, because it was just easier to use them to split their schedule because it was a lot of work.
And plus, when
So,
she was Mona as herself and then Mona the
yes.
Vampire, she's almost unrecognizable.
Yes. So yeah,
it's
that
gonna
was fun
bug me
too. I
for a
really liked
while
that
about that
one.
show.
It was the same crew pretty much as Caillou. It was the same,
Hmm.
studio, so it was the same place where we would go. It was the same director, um, same, group of actors. So yeah, that was really fun too. It's all like part of the same time. And I love that. I got to play another character as well. There was Miss Gatto and then this other character that sort of had a Marilyn Monroe voice. She was one of the other teachers. Um,
Like a
so
soft-spoken teacher
yeah,
teaching a monster.
just a little bit more like that.
That would have been another good fun one to look back on for Halloween, Mona the Vampire. You
Yes.
know what?
What a
Maybe
great
next year,
costume.
guys, I'm not going anywhere for a while. Maybe next year I'll do a whole retrospective on Mona the Vampire. That means I got to get started now. I don't remember how many
Yeah.
seasons that show had.
Yeah, me neither, actually. I think it was about five, maybe.
Okay,
I think so.
I I haven't seen that show in friggin' forever.
Yeah. Bring back a lot of good memories.
Hmm.
Hmm. What other shows of mine do you have down there? I'm
Yeah,
curious
well, to wrap
because
it
it
up,
reminds me of stuff I've done.
this is a pretty popular one. Winx Club.
Ah, Winx. I loved that show. Holly was in that as well. And my
Hmm.
friend Angela Gallupo. It was like we were like a real girl gang because we would all go in together. It was dubbing.
Hmm.
There's an
Going
American
back to what we were
version.
talking about with Whimsy's house.
Yeah, except this was cartoon. So they did it in another language first, and then
Right.
we dubbed it. And there were two dubbings. There was one American version that was dubbed, and then there was the Canadian voices. So there's like two different uh, lives of this show because I don't know where the Canadians went, but a lot of people saw the Canadian version. Other people saw the American version. So
Hmm.
I don't know why they did it both, but um,
It
yeah. So
seems to have quite the life. I mean, I still see commercials for Winx Club toys on TV.
yes, I'm sure it's all new people now, but
Hmm.
yeah, when we would go in, there was Jodie Rester as well, Angela Lucinda Davis,
Another Caillou person, Jody. I
Jodie
can't.
Rester.
Thank you.
Yes.
I always read it incorrectly.
Her voice is amazing. She has a little scratchy voice. So cute, her voice. Anyway, so we were like a girl gang in there. We were like, and the director was this man, Joe, and we just drove him crazy. We were just five, we were like chit-chatting and
by
giggling
by
and
by like
laughing
by
and
like recording together.
yeah, yeah. And we
Okay.
would, in between lines and stuff, we'd be teasing him and making fun of him, and it was fun. We gave him a hard time.
Hmm.
But but again, it was a good time. It was I can still visualize the studio, which doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so you kind of get attached to like you attach the place to the gig, so that
Yeah.
when Winx Club, like I'd always meet Holly at Second Cup and we'd get our vanilla lattes and we'd go into the studio, chat with the other girls until they were ready to record. So it's like it brings back like the energy we had translated into the show, like
Hmm.
that's what happens is you kind of you meet up with each other first and you get yourselves in a really good mood and then you're able to do these crazy voices, you have to kind of have a lot of energy. So we did that and I love that show.
Hmm. Are you working on anything new at the moment that you can talk about? I know NDAs probably don't allow it,
That's very true.
but if
That's
there's
very
anything
true.
that you can talk about and you'd like to share that, we'd love to hear it.
I did some characters in a film called Katak about a dolphin, no, a whale, a killer whale going across the ocean. Um, I did recently. It's been mostly video games, which I'm not allowed to talk about.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of the last cartoon I did. It's been a while since I've done an animation, other than which is the dolphin one where I play the scientist, the
Hmm.
marine biologist, and they all live in this island and take care of homeless sea animals. So it's like a really sweet, they rehabilitate sea creatures. So I really like that show. And of course, the dolphin is always saving the day. I love it.
That's
Um,
sweet.
yeah, and other than that, I just wait for that email saying you got a gig. And now before we used to go in for auditions, now we do them at home. So it's different. You don't get direction at your audition anymore. You just kind of have to figure, okay, what would I do if I was this character? And then just send it in. And then you wait, you get an email. And yeah, I hope someday soon
Yeah.
something else comes my way. I did a video game yesterday and recently made a short film. And
Ooh.
yeah, and
A
now
live action short film or an animated short film?
a live action.
Nice.
I wrote it and directed it and came up with the whole thing, and then
Good for you.
shot it with some students just for fun. And yeah, so I keep busy. Definitely keep busy. I'm still part of the whole acting community. So even when there's not work, you still feel like you're working in a way because you're always,
You're finding
interacting
work.
with the other people, coming up with ideas, helping people with auditions, doing your own auditions, watching shows to keep up with the genres that they have today, things like that. It's still a full-time job, even though I don't work every day in a studio.
hmm Yeah, I did a shoot in January, which doesn't happen often here in Nova Scotia. That there's a lot of
Oh
filming
yeah.
going on in the winter, and so I, t- I told all my friends I was like, I'm going back to set, and one of my
What do you
friends,
do on set?
well, whatever they want me to do. For that one, I was a production assistant.
Oh, great.
I've
Okay.
worked with that company many, many times. I actually I did a movie with
Oh,
them
great.
couple months ago.
Nice.
We're finished that now.
Okay.
I've done set deck. I do a lot of camera stuff right now.
Nice.
I've been doing a project right now where I'm actually doing the slate,
Oh,
and
okay. Don't go too
that
loud in front of an actor's face.
well, I'm always like, I hope I'm not too much in your way, and the guy doing the camera's like, bring it into the light.
Yeah, bring it into
Um,
light. But yeah,
uh,
when you go like click, sometimes it's so loud in an actor's face that they're like, "Can you be quieter, please?" That's just a little tip from me.
mm,
When they're in front of an actor,
mm.
quiet.
But yeah, I told all my friends I'm going back to set, and one of my friends, because I at that point I hadn't been back on set since September, and then I get back in the winter. I'm like, I'm back at it right away.
It's so exciting.
And one of my friends says to me, "Why have you not been to set?" I'm like, "It's not an office job. I'm not a doctor or a lawyer."
Yeah, you just kind of, you never know when it's going to be.
Yeah.
And it's always something different, which is fun.
Oh yeah. Well, that's all I've got here. Is there anything you want to say to wrap up?
I just want to say that I was really touched that you wanted to speak with me because this was something, that started my career and kind of gave me a direction of, you know, doing things that mean stuff to people. Because not everything in this business does, you do a
Yeah.
commercial or whatever. So that's one of the gigs that I hold dear as Caillou. It's because it was the beginning of everything. And yeah, it's just nice to connect with people who liked it and who watched it. And I'm glad to hear it was a big part of your childhood because that was the whole point of it. And all those
A lot of
people.
these shows were, and I'm going to be brutally honest. I think I like Whimsy's house more than I like
Yeah,
Caillou. I'm
that's
not saying I
great.
don't like Caillou, but
No, no,
Whimsy's
that's
house,
fantastic. I loved
yeah.
Whimsy's house. I think it was beautiful to look at. And yeah, I'm just really happy that it meant something to you and that you still remember it because a lot of people go into making these shows and, you know,
Yeah, and that's
it,
one of the things that I feel like is looked down on. Because I remember I was doing a project and one of my relatives, we started talking about film, and I said, at what point did you in your life ever think that the shows you watch on TV is just one person holding a camera up to somebody's face? Because that's just one person. There's a
yeah.
million other people
Million other
behind that
people
guy.
back there.
Yeah.
Yep, yep. I'm sure that each puppet had their own costume designer, you know what I mean?
You know what? Having had a couple of Muppet Wranglers from Sesame Street on this show, I can confirm that to be a fact.
Yeah, it is. Somebody's got to, fluff that bow tie.
Hi, Michael Schutbach, if you're listening. Jen, thanks again for coming on the show,
Oh, thanks so much for having me.
and
I
thanks
hope we
again to
keep in
Pat for
touch.
connecting us. Yeah, of course. I've got you in my phone. I have all my guests in my phone. So,
Excellent.
and
For all
to
those
all of our
reunions we're going to do.
well, I'll tell you this. I have had guests come back.
Yeah?
I've occasionally done what I call Nostalgia Talk bonus. At the moment, I'm doing Nostalgia Talk Christmas bonus.
Ooh,
And I
nice.
do those in a couple of different ways. Sometimes I look at an old toy from my past and I do a video. I'm like, look at this. This is cool because it's old.
Ah,
Um,
that's great.
or I take out clips from other shows where everybody's talking about the same subject and I collate them together. Retrospectives on TV shows, movies, what have you. And occasionally I've brought those guests back for those retrospectives.
Wow.
So stick
Fingers
around.
crossed. Fingers crossed. Think of me.
But to all of our listeners, you guys, I don't need to keep saying it. You guys know where to go for news about new future guests on Nostalgia Talk. Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, all in the description. And as of now, I have 3 more Nostalgia Talk Christmas bonus retrospectives on the way. I actually am looking at the script for one of them right as we speak. So that will be out soon, and I will see you next time. In the meantime, I hope your December is off to a great start. Peace out.